YouTube, welcome back. This video is going to be on biopellet reactor and a GFO reactor and how I keep my nitrates in check and the phosphates. Alright, so here's a look at all the corals. Everything's doing nice. Let me show you around the tank. Alright, well, so let's get into today's video. Alright, so it's a perfect day to do a video on the biopellet reactor because my nitrates are starting to creep up on me. When I did the test, they're really close to 50 parts per million, and what I need to do is to add like a half a cup of the pellets, and you rinse them in water, get rid of the ones that float, and then that's how I top off, per se, my reactor. So let me go over to the reactor and okay, so the biopellet reactors are a great way to reduce and keep the nitrates exactly where you want. And how you do that is go to BRS, get your reactor, and go to their calculators, and they'll give you a recommended amount of pellets to add to your system. But you don't want to do all of it right at first. That's the running calculator. So to start them out, you do at least half of the recommended amount, and then what'll happen, and then you get also you want to put in some live bacteria, the same kind of bacteria that you use to start the tank, and you put that in the chamber for about an hour or two and let that seed all the pellets. And after that, you don't want to add any more the live bacteria. If you keep adding live bacteria, what that's going to do, it's going to melt your pellets or dissolve them really fast. And if you dissolve them really fast, then you're going to have problems with the water getting cloudy and just particulates floating around the water, excess bacteria and the sludge from these things making some algae blooms and stuff like that. So you don't want to do that. You just want to be patient. It'll take 3 to 4 weeks for them to really start reducing your nitrates. And you're gonna, like, let's say you start out, you're like, oh, I need a reactor, I need something with these nitrates, I'm tired of doing water changes, so if it's at 80, after about a month it's going to come down to 50, and it's going to keep dropping. Just keep testing, just keep watching it drop, and then pretty soon you're going to get to a level where you want it. I keep mine right at 10, and after that, at that level, you'll keep increasing. Don't increase anything until 4 weeks, but after 4 weeks, if it's not to where you want it, then add a little bit more pellets, maybe a half a cup. See what that brings it down to. You can actually get it down to where it's a constant. It'll just stay, pretty steady on you. So I think within the last week and a half, my nitrates went up. But other than that, they were like, last week they were at 10, and now they're up to 50. So what that means is the amount in here is getting too low to keep it at my desired level. So that's why I'm going to add a half a cup. Now that half a cup is for my system. Your system will be different. You'll just have to get it dialed in over a couple months and find out exactly where, and then you don't ever have to worry about the nitrates anymore. So after a couple months or a month, you might get a little bit of buildup in your reactor. Mine's every 2 months it'll build up. There's a screen up at the top you want to keep clean. The reef octopus that I have here, I think it's a 180, and it's got that little spacer right there with the screw on there, so I can just take these screws off, which I'll turn it off now and show you. So I just turn those off. I can do this pretty much one-handed. Oh, I want to open this up because once I break the siphon, it'll allow water to run back to the tank. It used to. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, okay. So what it's going to do is so it's going to pump it back back into the system. Anyways, so I'll add some pellets to this and I'll be right back. Oops, let me turn the camera on, sorry about that. Okay, so we're back at the sink. Let me just rinse out that screen. The screen gets dirty, it's going to reduce your flow and the way the pellets turn. Alright, let me put this back in and put some pellets in. Alright, so I just put my brush in here and just rub the sides down. Alright, put in my half a cup of booster pellets, and those will start churning, and it'll take a few days and I'll see my nitrates start to go back down to 10. Alright, so the next one is the GFO reactor. I have an Aquamax dual chamber. I got the dual chamber. They're really tall. I have plenty of space. It's in my garage, and this way I can turn the GFO and not worry about the little fine particles going back to the tank. I mean, they will, or they could, but you know, as you see, they're not. It's just a little bit dirty. Once I change these out, I'll clean these chambers, the cylinders as well. So, you know, you just want to have it tumbling. This has been in there almost 2 months, and so I just have a cup in each side, and for my tank that's exactly the recommended amount, again, for on BRS. And what that does is it just happens to keep my phosphates, the way I feed, how much livestock I have in the tank, it keeps it at 0.03, which is good. It doesn't completely strip the phosphates, but it keeps mine perfect. But let me touch on that a little bit more. Running both reactors, you have to go a little bit less on the GFO, that's recommended, and you have to go less on the pellets again. The reason why you want to do that is because GFO, in my opinion, is really good for phosphates, and pellets are really good for nitrates. But if you do one or the other too heavy, it'll if you do too much GFO, you could have an issue with the pellets. I've actually had too much GFO before, stripped all the phosphates, and then my pellets turned red. So I mean, you could come into an issue running it like that, but run just enough GFO to keep your phosphates where they're at. Same, go under the recommended dose amount, and then just keep it, then just add it, or just do a quarter of it, see what your phosphates come down to, then throw some more in there, and just keep track of how much you've put in each time. And then once your phosphates start to come up, then change out all of the media. But like, if let's say you used a half a cup for your tank, go with another half a cup, and your phosphates should stay back where they were, or where you like them to be. So for me it works, and that's why I wanted to do the video. I do run both, and I'm having success with it. Now the GFO, sometimes it's hard to get it to tumble correctly. When it gets a little bit and it's get a little bit older, and it's picked up a lot of you've had it in your system for a couple months, then usually one side will only turn. When it's new, the whole thing would like bubble, you know. So you can tell kind of when it's getting old, it turns a little bit darker brown.